Welcome, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell, and this is the 12 Games of Christmas. Christmas is for children, and that's what we're talking about today, kids' games. This video is sponsored by Above Board TV, which is a great channel if you want to laugh and see people playing board games at the same time. Definitely check them out. They're a YouTube channel on the internet, and they do things like a list of games that are shouting at you. They do little top 10 lists that I have shown up occasionally on this channel. But there's a link to a specific video down below here, which is them gaming underwater with sharks. Extreme gaming. You can't get much more extreme than that. But you want to watch that video. You'll want to comment on that video, because if you do comment on that video, you'll be entered in a contest to win one of the games that we mentioned in these 12 Games of Christmas lists, and the grand prize winner will win a 3-day, 2-night trip to LA to record with the Above Board team. So go comment in there, check out their videos. If you like their channel, subscribe to it. But either way, don't stop yet, because we are about to talk about kids' games. I have 7 kids. And, well, some of them are outside the house now, but I have grandkids, and I love gaming with children. But children's games can often be boring, and I want to play games that are interesting to me and them. And I also want games that give them choices, but not so complicated they don't understand it. It's hard to find good kids' games. It really is. It was hard for us to make this list, but we did, and we got 12 great kids' games for you, so let's get started.
Our first game in the children's category is Sherlock Holmes. Oh, not that Sherlock Holmes, but no, the animals that live around Sherlock Holmes. This is the Animals of Baker Street. This one is a very charming detective-style game where you've got Sherlock Holmes, he's way up here, he's the detective, right? But you've got these animals that live around him that are detectives too. I mean, it's kind of rubbed off on them. So this game right here is enjoyable for adults as well as kids, because you're going through this, and if your kid is not reading yet, you can read it to the kids. But like if it's our daughter who is just learning to read, she can read these herself. So you kind of read these very simple mysteries, and they're not overly simple, so you still feel like you are discovering this on your own and you are actually investigating this mystery, because you might have to go to the sewer and talk to the rats. You might have to go over and talk to the owl. And you've got different people in your team that have different abilities, that they can do different things, and you could ask them questions. And there's so many choices, but it's also not unforgiving. So it kind of gives you a bit of a wide berth. With so many of these Sherlock Holmes are like, you've got to figure it out like Sherlock did. Oh, he's so much smarter than you. It's like, oh, that was fun. But no, this one, you actually get to enjoy it. You get to go through the journey, and we found ourselves with our daughter going through 1, then 2, then she wants to do another one. It is really a charming game. The artwork is great, the theme is great. I mean, your Animals on Baker Street. Doesn't get any better than that, right? And Sherlock shows up every once in a while. So, all right, that is Animals on Baker Street.
Next up, we have Beat the 8 Ball, which is a dexterity-style game with an amazing toy factor. On each turn, one player is going to be placing the 8 ball, which is a marble, into this funnel. It's going to be spinning around the funnel, and every other player is going to be trying to decide when they're going to release their marble. They have a little lever that will release a marble down a channel that is also going to be the channel that the 8 ball uses when it finally drops down to the bottom of the funnel. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to be the last player to beat the 8 ball. That's going to be the player that gets the most points. So if you release your marble too early, sure, you're going to beat the 8 ball, but you're not going to get a lot of points if you are one of the first players, especially the first player that actually releases the marble. What you want to do is get it right before the 8 ball goes down. And so you're going to maybe risk your timing and push your luck and try to do it right as that 8 ball is about to drop. But if you do it too late, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You didn't beat it. You're not getting any points. So it's really a game of kind of chicken, where you're looking at what the other players are doing. I've played this game with people that like to fake like they're going to be releasing their marble. It's silly. It's fun. It's a game that kids have just as much of a chance, maybe better, to win than adults, and it's also the type of game that's going to appeal to both kids and adults. That is Beat the 8 Ball.
It is a well-documented fact that children love destroying stuff, so I'm recommending Catapult Feud. This is a game that lets you and your kid destroy each other's castles. There's a building phase where everyone builds up these blocks and puts out their soldiers, and then there's a launching phase where you start catapulting boulders at each other. There's the basic game, there's tons of expansions as well. Just the basic game is so fun though. You can play with just the free mode where you just take turns volleying at each other, trying to knock their blocks and their castles down. Or you can play with some of the card play, which introduces little rules here and there, but either way, your kid's gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a great time, relive kind of your inner childhood, and I've just seen my kid's face light up so much. And there's very few games that she has requested to pull out as much as Catapult Feud. If that sounds like a great time, then this is going to make a wonderful gift. Anyone can pick this one up and have a lot of fun with it. That's Catapult Feud.
Next up, we're going to recommend Kids Chronicles Quest for the Moonstones. Now, Lucky Duck has released another one, The Old Oak Prophecy, so if that's available in your area, maybe check it out as well. So Kids Chronicles takes the Chronicles of Crime system and brings it in a more kid-friendly environment. Yes, through the artwork, through the puzzles, through the length, through the complexity, but still preserves what makes this game a great, cooperative, immersive experience. It's still app-based. The kids still get to pick up the phone and move it around. I think as a parent, I love that it's really developing those verbal communication skills, descriptive skills, really making them reason through puzzles and cooperate together. I love all those things as a parent. The kids, they don't care about that. What do they care about? They get to bring out that phone, do something cool, look around this really neat thing and see it come to play on a board. So it's coming from the phone to their mind on the board. That process is just so great. It's also one of the few games that has hit every time that I've played it with kids. I've played it with my son, who is not really a board gamer, and he loves it. It's one of the few he wants to bring to the table. I've played it with new readers who are just trying to learn to read or have a limited vocabulary, and they have that opportunity to be excited to play in the app, and you're there assisting. It's just, it keeps going over really well. It's a beautiful production, and lets kids be on the phone but still spend time with you. So that sounds interesting. Check out Quest for the Moonstones.
So the next one here is going to be Concept Kids. My family loves Concept Kids. Basically, this is, you have everybody, you draw an animal card. So one person has the animal card and everybody else is trying to guess that animal. They're basically going to be putting out these little tokens out on the board to show what the different attributes of that animal are. Whether they like live in the jungle or like the terrain they live in, what colors the animal might be, whether it has like different aspects like claws or like fur or feathers, and then also like does it crawl on the ground. And this is just like an interesting logic puzzle that the kids have to try to figure out of like, okay, it has this and this and this, let's do this. And it's just a game that you can play with the whole family and people can jump in and out of this game. I've just had so much success with Concept Kids. So if you have little ones who are into gaming at all, or if you're trying to bring your little ones into gaming, this is an amazing game for teaching your family. Just figuring out this stuff together is just really fun in Concept Kids.
Escape rooms are all the rage now. People like to go and figure out how to escape. And there's escape room board games. This is one for kids called Exit and Jungle of Riddles. The Exit Jungle of Riddles is for the younger set. We're talking lower elementary. And you're going to have 6 cards that you'll go through. And there's 6 of each of these cards, so every game will feel different. And you'll solve the card. You might be unscrambling some letters for whatever reason, or finding an animal that's missing on the card, or whatever it might be. And when you finish each card, you get a magnifying glass until you've solved all 6 cards, in which case you will win the game together. And you can play this over and over again. It's going to be too simple for most older children, but young kids are going to enjoy it. And this is made from a long line. The Exit games are well known for making great escape rooms. This is one for kids. So I especially think for the younger set, they're going to enjoy this. It's good to challenge their minds and make them think. And this is a game that will do that.
Flashback Zombie Kids is the second installment in the Zombie Kids list of games, but this one is so unique So in this game, you are slowly revealing the story and you're trying to figure out kind of where the zombies came from, what happened, but you're doing it all with pictures. Each card that you reveal is from a particular person's perspective. So I could be staring at someone out a window and they could have a little number over them. And so if I draw that number card, I'm now looking at exactly what they're looking at. Or maybe someone in the room, I'm looking at them through a card and they're looking right back at me. I look at their number and hey, now I can see who I've been looking through in the first place. It's very cool the way that it unravels. You can also get cool little power-ups that make things, you see things more or new things will be revealed. It is a fun game. My daughter loved it. And just going through that story, it's so unique and yet very enjoyable.
Our next game is Key to the Kingdom. And you might say, wait a minute, wasn't this out decades ago? You're right. This is a remade version by Restoration Games. Restoration Games takes old games and they redesign them, redevelop them, and kind of give them a whole new engine under the hood. They're fantastic. And Key to the Kingdom is a fun adventure game. Now, back in the day, sometimes you roll a die and move. Key to the Kingdom has that. You roll a die and move around the board. When you get to a test or a monster, you roll a die. But what Key to the Kingdom also has is little cards that you can flip over and use items. You might have a sword card that gives you +4 to a roll. You might have a book bag that's -2 to a roll. And you can manipulate your dice. And you're going to go through and solve funny missions. There's all different missions and you can pick the ones that you go to. You can pick from multiple paths on the board. And the board even opens up. Like, there's a portal and it opens up to this side and you'll see a whole new section that you hadn't been on before. It's a lot of fun. The whole family will enjoy it. This one's probably for upper elementary or even teenagers will have a lot of fun with this one. But I definitely recommend it. It's a fantastic production. That's Key to the Kingdom.
Our next game is Quest Kids. Now, Quest Kids is kind of my first dungeon crawler. You have a very colorful board and you have cards which represent rooms. And you and your compatriots move along and enter into the rooms. You might find treasure or power there, or you might find a monster. And when you fight that monster, if you can't defeat him, another player at the table can help you. And if they do, they get a kind kid card. So it's a really great game to kind of show that helping and sharing can reward you and can allow you to beat monsters. I probably shouldn't teach my child to beat up monsters. No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Next up is a game with some fun little physicality to it called Slide Quest. Do you remember those labyrinths, the wooden ones where you had to twist the dials to move the platform around so the marble could kind of go through the path without falling in the holes? Now imagine a fun game built around that. Slide Quest is a game where players will cooperatively be moving these levers up and down to try to move around the central platform. You have a hero that you're moving through doorways, knocking goblins and stuff down holes, trying not to knock over the stick of dynamite, else everything's going to blow up. And it does it with incremental levels of challenge. You can play through the whole story, and there's a fun amount of increase in difficulty. You can just replay any single level that you want that you thought was particularly fun. This is a great game for children's and adults alike because there's just something so viscerally fun about watching your knight knock over that goblin, get through the final doorway, move on to the next level. This is one that as soon as you finish playing a level, you want to play the next one. And I mean you, the parent playing with the kid. These are children's games, but you can also just play these by yourself. I promise you'll have fun with Slide Quest.
Next up for our children's game, we're going to be talking about Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. Now in the Ticket to Ride series, they've already done a children's game, and that was First Journey. Ghost Train changes it up just a little bit, gives you a couple different objectives. For example, there's no longer the longest train, but if you connect corner to corner, then you get a special boon and extra points as well. So it takes something that maybe they're already familiar with in this Ticket to Ride First Journey, or maybe they're just familiar with it because they've seen you play it and they want to experience that as well. It also does a great job of not feeling like a watered down version of Ticket to Ride. So the kids are still going to have to employ strategy. They're still going to feel like they're playing a robust game, but it's very streamlined, it's easy to grasp, and I think it's a great choice for children who just want that little bit extra. They're not quite ready for your full game, but they still want to be involved. For those kids, check out Ticket to Ride Ghost Train.
Last up on our kids game list is Unlock Kids. Now, this is such a nice simplified version of the bigger Unlock escape room games, and it is super geared towards children. They manipulate the cards, they line up patterns, it reveals new cards that they can choose, and new scenes that they can uncover, and new puzzles. So I think it is that perfect level for kids maybe 6 to 10 years old to be able to go through those puzzles and to be able to enjoy them, maybe have a little bit of coaching if they're younger. No coaching necessary if they're older. I think that it's a super fun game and a great choice for children.
Thanks for watching another video in our series of the 12 Games of Christmas. A couple things before we go out. First of all, we've mentioned lots of different things that you can get here, and there's board games and all sorts of stuff, and we checked to make sure that these were available online. So we checked at the different online game stores like Game Nerds, we checked the publisher sites themselves, and we checked Amazon. And in fact, if they're available on Amazon, we have those links in the description. You just go right there and buy them. And if you do that, anything, when you buy there, or if you buy other stuff too, that helps us here at the Dice Tower. So keep that in mind. Also, don't forget our sponsor, Above Board TV. Go check out their channel. Go enter the contest by commenting on that video we mentioned. And as a side note, this contest is available only to those in the U.S. now for different reasons. But even if you're from all over the world, you can at least go check out their content and laugh as they play board games in fun and weird ways. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching these. I hope these lists are a help to you. Check out the other 9 videos. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this is the 12 Games of Christmas of 2023 on the Dice Tower.